Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Shaman King 2021, episode 20. So, yeah, we had last week off. And it was mainly just because of the holiday and everything. I just wasn't able to record everything. It is just too much with too little of time, basically. So I wanted to prioritize, and I got most of stuff done last week, but Shaman King was one that I had already kind of decided I would put off, and I ended up putting off Arcane as well. But we are back, and we are continuing on with this tournament in which Team the Wren is currently fighting. And they are taking on a group of House team. So it should be interesting. Now, in this team are the two members of Boz, who are easily dispatched. But it seems like the third member is going to be a little more trouble because he can puppeteer others. So, yeah, we'll have to see how that turns out. Now, like I had said in previous episodes, I don't fully remember the details of this arc. I just remember there was a tournament arc in the original. But this one guy kind of looks familiar. This I don't know what his name is, and I don't want to say like anything that would just sound stupid. But this guy who can puppeteer people, he looks very familiar to me. So I probably kind of conjuring up these random like memories of him in my head from the original. But at the same time, there's other stuff that just wasn't that familiar to me, like the Archangel group. So I don't know. We'll have to see where all of this goes. Excuse me. I don't really know what to expect going forward. I assume that this tournament will be won by Yo's team, but I'm not sure how it's even going to work, because there's got to be more to the Shaman fight after this, right? Or is this supposed to be the final stage? I don't remember if they said. I feel like there's got to be more after this, so I feel like there can't only be one winner then, right? Maybe it'll get down to the final two and then they'll have to do something different. Maybe something like that will happen. I don't know. I really don't. But we are seeing what Chocolove can do, and he's really kind of badass. He has some really cool abilities. His Oversoul is fantastic. It's cool getting to see him fight in this, but I'm very excited to see what just the team and everything can do as a whole, and maybe see how they even work together to overcome maybe this puppeteer enemy. But in the meantime, we're just going to get this started and hope for the best. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, with this episode, I think Chocolove could easily start becoming one of my favorites. And at the moment, I'm still a little mixed on him. But he could start becoming one of my favorites. This backstory was honestly pretty amazing. It was extremely well done, extremely interesting. And honestly, out of the varied backstories we've had for these characters, I would say is my favorite. Lyserg's was just depressing, which works for his character and sets him up well. But it wasn't like that interesting per se. Faust's kind of the same. A lot of depressing to it, but not much else. It's like all these characters, like, they have some backstory, but outside of like Ren and now Chocolove, none of them really are that investing. Ren's was more investing because of everything we found out surrounding him in his life and how he and his sister were raised and everything. That's what made it good. Especially with how it affected him and how he was able to break out of that. But these other characters, it's like not a lot was put into that. It's not like One Piece where the backstories are really heavily gone into, even for some more or less minor characters. No, here it's just these are backstories that are just kind of skimmed over unless they're a real major character like Ren or Yo or How, I guess. But Chocolove gets like a full-on one here, and I'm really glad that they gave him one because it was really good. So Chocolove, when he was very young, his parents were murdered in front of him, leaving him with a scar on his head as well by this robber or robbers who came into his house on Christmas. So he began just trying to get by after that, but ended up becoming a gang member after not too long. And he got so involved with this gang that it kind of fueled his entire mindset on the world, turning him into an angry, violent person who would literally kill people. Like, shoot them straight up in the head with no mercy. And it's like, holy shit, dude. Again, how did they handle this backstory in the dub, or not the dub, the original anime where a lot was censored? How did they handle that in this? I can't even imagine. Like, they would have had to either skim through it completely or cut out every single moment of murder and just replace it with something else. I don't know. But we see that eventually one year on Christmas he meets this shaman, this Native American shaman, and is basically taught by this guy to leave behind all that anger, to focus instead on laughter, on hope, on joyfulness. And the dude teaches Chocolove how to be a shaman with Mike's help, but also tries to teach him about comedy, which he is just as terrible at as Chocolove is in current day. Seriously, like, neither of them are even slightly good at comedy. It's not even... It's actually kind of... It's the one thing I think that's holding me back on Chocolove a little bit right now. The comedy aspect of it all is just so painfully bad. And I get that's the point. I understand that's the point, but it's so bad. It's just kind of annoying. Um, but so we see that he's training him when the old gang decides to visit and try to force Chocolove to return. Um, and they do this by threatening and eventually killing the old shaman. Now, it's then implied that Chocolove is able to turn his old gang around and get them to become better. It's even like shown like they're at the tournament and everything. And it's like I'm really like I feel that part was rushed. I feel that part could have been done better because it's like with how terrible this gang was, with how bad of an action that was and everything. Like I get that he was trying to hold back on his anger due to what the old man was saying, but there's a snapping point. I feel like that would have broken him. That would have caused him to lash out. As dark as this is, hear me out here, because I think this would have been a better result and would have actually gotten across his entire no killing thing in the current day even better. What if after the old man was killed, Chocolove absolutely snapped and murdered all of the members of his old gang? But instead of making him feel better, it actually really takes a toll on his mental health and really causes him a lot of pain. It hurts him. It causes him to be absolutely horrified at what he had become, thinking back to, again, what the old man had been telling him about abandoning his anger and all. This causes him to basically go straight real quick and become not really pacifistic per se, but very much against killing. And that leads into the current day, into this tournament, where he's refusing to kill bows because he's afraid to, basically, because of just the trauma he went through back then in New York. I think that would have actually been much more effective and hit a lot harder. The idea that these gang members were redeemed, I don't know, it just seems like it was, again, too quick, too easy. It just kind of happened. We don't even know how it happened, or we have no clue as to the context of it. So it feels forced. And it's the one thing about this backstory I don't like, if I'm being honest. But we see in the current day, in the tournament, we see Chocolove use a kind of ultimate move, which he just uses his Furyoku to create a likeness of Ayer's rock, and with his pose, his belly button it emulates a certain landmark as well, and everything. And it's not funny or even slightly entertaining. It's just like a total WTF moment. And so it's like when others begin laughing, like the two spirits that are controlling bows, it's like, why? When the little Dia de los Muertos dolls begin laughing, it's like, why? I don't understand. It's not funny. And then it's basically revealed that was just entirely a distraction. It wasn't even an actual move. It wasn't meant to actually do anything. It was a distraction. And Ren comes in at that moment and finishes things off, revealing that his Furyoku has increased exponentially. And I agree with what they had said. What Ren and Horohoro noted after the match and everything. It is very clear that it's very clear, very undeniable that Chocolove is awesome. That he's a strong shaman, that he has the skill and ability to get even better, and that he's got amazing spirits. But you also can't argue with Ren when he said his jokes are terrible. He's not funny. He's not. Nothing about anything in terms of his comedy is funny. It's actually actively unfunny. Yeah. But he is cool. And that's kind of why I'm a little conflicted right now, why I'm hesitating a bit to put him, to say he's one of my favorite characters. Like, he definitely has the potential to be, but the unfunny jokes are so painful that it's kind of holding him back for me. It's the only thing currently holding him back for me. If that aspect wasn't part of it, he probably would be one of my favorite characters. But I can't ignore that. It doesn't let me ignore that. So, yeah, it was a great episode, and I liked seeing Chocolove's backstory, and it really, really did a lot of really good things to expand upon his character. Again, I only wish that the ending would have been a little better, and again, darker as it is. I think that idea I put forward would have worked better than just having a happy ending where all the gang members are just suddenly good. It's like, it didn't work for me the way it was done. But either way, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode of Shaman King 2021? And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.